Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Rod, if you're free, I have an extra ticket to the Warriors and Oil Kings game in Moose Jaw tonight, if you want to join me. I would love to, but I can't. To quote Sammy Seafood Sam, I'm busy.
How about that?
Where's Seafood Sam?
Yeah.
Moved to Calgary. He's busy.
Yeah.
But thank you, Glenn.
Muna.
Big shots. Big shots.
Sitting out there up there with the Russian national coach at the press conference.
Guy ran a seafood restaurant in Saskatoon, okay? His name was Seafood Sam. That was the name of the restaurant, and the Saskatoon Blades would bring him down to coach the All-Star or the intra-squad game, and he'd start brawls. And
I remember
Mona
hearing the story about Daryl Lubanicki. They told the guys no more fights. And so all of a sudden there's a fight, and then they drop the puck, and then there's another fight, and there's another.
He's coaching the intra-squad
One
game.
kid had fought 3 times, so Daryl Lubanicki said, I'm going to put an end to this. And he walks around the rink, and he comes over to the kid who's had 3 fights, and he says, what is going on around here? And the kid says, that Chinese guy keeps sending me out to beat out of that. So he had to go to this Seafood Sam, who was this little 5'2" Chinese fellow who owned their local restaurant.
Seafood Sam's.
And tell him to knock it off.
No more fights.
How about that? Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Oleg in Winnipeg writes in, says, Rod is fighting so hard. My awesome comments. One day I'll win him over for one. Well, at least you're now speaking in first person. The fact that you've been writing in third person for several years, I refuse to read your comments in third person. So that's why, Oleg, if you spoke like a normal person, I'd read your comment. How about that?
How about that? This is the Rod Pedersen Show. How about that?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, we're coming in hot to a brand new week. I couldn't wait to get on the air. I got to say, enough of these 3-day weekends, man, because we miss so much. Let's jump right into episode number 1097 of your favorite daytime show. I'm in the South Florida studio. As you can see, Darren Moose DuPont is in the Toronto studio, and we're going to get right to it. We've got not breaking news, but big news from within the last 24 hours we're going to break down here on the program today. With Matthew Barnaby. Barnes going to be with us, old Barney, 18th all-time in NHL penalty minutes. And in hour 2, Jamie Thomas from Winnipeg Jets TV. I'll dispense with the dispensaries, other than saying happy belated Thanksgiving, Moose. How was your weekend? Welcome to the airwaves.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. It was awesome. Got to meet some new friends and had great Thanksgiving. Everything was great. How was yours down in the Keys?
It was good. Listen, you've piqued my interest now with your new friends. That's going to have to wait until hour 2 because we don't have time to get into it here, but I want to hear about it. But I was in the Florida Keys. I don't want to, listen, if I said it anymore, I would sound like I was bragging, which I kind of am, but a friend of ours with the Florida Panthers tossing us the keys to his Florida mansion and said, go have a great time, Canadian Thanksgiving at our mansion in the Keys. So we did that. And it was in the middle of the day yesterday. I was looking around out the plate glass windows, the bay windows over the Atlantic Ocean going, Cato Kalin really had it right. And I asked you in our morning meeting, you have no idea. You get that look, Darren, where you just, you have no idea.
Yeah.
So look up Cato Kalin. A lot of people in our audience will know exactly who that was. That was O.J. Simpson's house guest, and was asked to be a witness in the murder trial of 1994 or 93, whatever the hell it was. I think it was 93. Yeah, he lived at OJ's, rent-free. Probably fed him, too. I'm like, that guy had it. If I could live in the Keys and not have to pay rent nor food, I'd do this. Flush the toilets every now and again, take out the garbage. Yeah, sign me up. So, working on it. Can you hit the quick 6 show horn, please, to And also had occasion to drop by the Key West on the southernmost tip of the continental USA. It was hot. It was beautiful. I love it here. I know you know that. Point one, with all this stuff to get to, we're going to open with Monday Night Football. Seems like so last night. The Las Vegas Raiders snapped a 3-game NFL losing streak with a 17-13 victory Monday over the visiting Green Bay Packers. Robert Spillane intercepted Green Bay's Jordan Love twice. Amick Robertson made a game-sealing pick in the end zone, and the Raiders offense did just enough. Jimmy G completed 22 of 31 passes for 208 yards and a touchdown while throwing his NFL-high 7th interception. That was in a win. I'll just say this. I watched a quarter of it, and I went to bed, but it seemed to me like nobody really wanted to win this game. We have the two quarterbacks to throw the most interceptions in the NFL going head-to-head, Jimmy G versus Jordan Love. And, yeah, I didn't feel like it was that much of a game. What did you think?
Yeah, it just wasn't. It had a lot of hype, in terms of two teams that trying to decide which way they're going to go, right? What's their season going to look like? Jordan Love, is he going to be able to continue and be the next guy? He didn't look, that bad, but those interceptions, not great. It just didn't end up having the sizzle of maybe some of the games on Sunday, and it ended up being a game that I kind of drifted out of as it moved into the fourth quarter.
And we're moving on from Week 5 NFL takeaways. Other than to say this, I think it'll morph into point 2 when we turn our attention to the NHL. And you CFL fans, just wait until the second segment, because that's when we'll go ham on the CFL. Do you know what ham stands for? Hard as a mofo. I learned that not that long. That's what ham stands for, if you go ham. Hard as a...
That's pretty good.
Yeah. It's true. But I thought about this. I'm sick of the Cowboys, and they're my team, just because that's all I hear about. I think you laughed when I said ESPN should just rebrand itself as Dallas Cowboys TV or the Dallas Cowboys Network, because that's all they talk about. And I felt like the San Francisco 49ers took glee in thumping the Cowboys the other night, the worst thumping in the history of the rivalry of the two teams. I think there's a target on the Cowboys because the rest of the country, all the other teams, are sick of hearing about them, which actually does more. And that's so when you think of it that way, say that's why the Leafs might have problems. That might be why any team, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they get all the hype and all the media attention. All the other teams get sick of them and want to beat them. And it's not even the team's fault. So moving on to point 2. The National Hockey League regular season gets underway tonight with 3 games, including one in Pittsburgh, where prize rookie Connor Bedard of the Chicago Blackhawks faces his childhood idol, Sidney Crosby. The first game is the Tampa Bay Lightning hosting the Nashville Predators, and the last game is the Stanley Cup champion Golden Knights entertaining the Seattle Kraken in Las Vegas. All 7 Canadian teams begin their seasons on Wednesday. But we're going to jump right to the poll question. I just said it, Bedard versus Crosby. The poll question today for Kia Auto Group. By the way, the all-new 2024 Kia Sportage reimagines innovation in motion. It pushes the boundaries of urban SUV design and technology with refinement and purpose. Go to KeyYorktonKia.com for more information. The 2024 Kia Sportage movement that inspires. Our question is, who will have more points tonight? Connor Bedard or Sidney Crosby? It's like Connor's 900th game, I'm guessing, roughly, or probably more than that, probably 11 or 1200th game. And Connor Bedard's first. There it is. But I'm going to vote for Connor Bedard, as my guy Chris Sanford calls him, just because I'm a Bedard fan. And the thing is, what's tough about having a target painted on you, whether you're Connor Bedard or the Dallas Cowboys or whomever the media loves and the hype's around, you get everybody's best every game. And the joke is actually on them because it brings out the best in you. And Connor Bedard always rises to the occasion. I don't know that he will tonight. I'll vote for him. I'm voting for him to have more points than Crosby. I'm voting for him to have a good showing and for the Blackhawks to win. But who do you think will have more points tonight, Moose?
I think it'll be Bedard. We went back and forth about, the poll question, points tonight, points in the season between these two, all kinds of different things. But you know what? What did you say it was? And it's on our Instagram story. 2.5 points is what Bedard's projected.
That was my over-under. That was my over-under. Yeah.
Right. Probably should be, the over-under should be about 1.5, but 2.5, I still would take the over because he delivers in the moment. He's not going to do that every game, but this is his debut. This is his debutante ball. This is whatever you want to call it. He's going to deliver. He's probably going to have 3-4 points. That's what the Stars do, right? McDavid does this. Austin Matthews had 4 goals in his opener. This is what these special players do. And Bedard, I would expect nothing else. And I also expect Sidney Crosby to still have a good year and prove everybody wrong that he's not over the hill and not yesterday's news. This is a great matchup on opening day.
Connor Bedard is brought to you by the United States Postal Service because he always delivers. So that's the question tonight. From the Cats and Bolts podcast, the one that Serena and I host, that Tampa Bay-Nashville game is intriguing. All the games have intrigue if you want to look into it. Tampa Bay opening the season without Andrei Vasilevsky and with a disgruntled Steven Stamkos. We discussed that on the 3rd episode of the Cats and Bolts podcast. Check out my social media. You'll find it there. And then the late game, they'll raise the Stanley Cup banner for the Golden Knights tonight. That was a question this morning. Was that on? Maybe it was NHL Network. All the networks run in together. But there was a question of, will the Vegas Golden Knights repeat as Stanley Cup champions? I'm going to move on from here, but let that percolate, Moose. We might get to it a little later on. Point 2B, a lot of you have come here today waiting for this. The Winnipeg Jets have agreed to identical deals with 2 major pieces of the team. The Manitoba club says it has reached identical 7-year deals with forward Mark Scheifele and goalie Connor Hellebuyck, each with an average annual value of $8.5 million per year. The extensions are set to come into effect next season. Scheifele's coming in after a career year in goals and ranks first in franchise history with playoff goals as well as game-winning goals after being drafted by the Jets. That's for John Ohm in Winnipeg. I'm not even sure he's here yet or not, but that's in his honor. Biggest Jets fan I know, and that's saying something. Connor Hellebuyck, meanwhile, was drafted a year later than Scheifele in the 5th round and is beginning his 9th season with the team. The American netminder leads the franchise's goalies list in games played, wins, and shutouts, and he's a 3-time finalist for the Vezina Trophy, 1-time winner. Secondary poll question, does this make the Winnipeg Jets legitimate Stanley Cup contenders? Not favorites, because that honor goes in Canada to the Edmonton Oilers and maybe the Toronto Maple Leafs. But as far as I'm concerned, it darn sure makes them legitimate contenders. They were in the playoffs last year. They fixed their culture, they think, and they've removed this cloud of the contract extensions over their 2 best players. So that's a leap forward. Jets are absolutely a Stanley Cup contender. Change my mind.
They should be. They've just locked up 2 of their biggest assets to big deals. And to me, more importantly than the roster on the ice, this is a sign to me that the culture is moving in the right direction. Because I don't think Chevy would sign these 2 superstars to big deals. Remember, all offseason we were wondering, when are they going to trade Mark Scheifele? When are they going to trade Connor Hellebuyck? What are they going to get back? Is it going to be a retool or a rebuild? But now we look at this and say, maybe the culture is better because Chevy's not going to sign these guys to deals, and they're probably not signing them unless they're on the same page with Rick Bowness, right? And if they're not on the same page with Rick Bowness and like the situation, then they're not going to re-sign. And how about this for a stamp of approval for the city of Winnipeg? We're just talking about it, so it's an okay place to play, and Winnipeg's not a destination. Was it Gabe Velarde or who came in and said, about Winnipeg?
It's not that bad. It's actually not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad. This is 2 major superstars saying, I want to stay here for almost a decade. Like, that's pretty special, means a lot. And now they've got their core locked in moving forward.
Yeah, you give me $8.5 million, I could be happy just about anywhere. Our hockey coverage is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company in Calgary, 28th Street Northeast. Head on down to the tap room Thursday through Saturday, noon to 8 p.m. Check out Common Crown Brewing at commoncrown.ca. We got to throw in the baseball. Point 3, the Arizona Diamondbacks are a win away from advancing to the NLCS after edging the Dodgers 4-2 Monday in Los Angeles. Arizona scored 3 runs in the opening inning and then hung on for the win. D-backs, who won Saturday's opener 11-2, can sweep the best-of-5 NLDS with a victory Wednesday at Chase Field. Austin Riley hit a 2-run home run with 2 out in the bottom of the 8th inning to lift the Atlanta Braves to a 5-4 comeback win over the visiting Philadelphia Phillies in Game 2 of the NLDS, which is tied 1-1. Travis d'Arnaud also hit a 2-run homer for the Braves, who were out hit 9-4. We got time in this segment to dabble in the Canadian Football League. The point for the Montreal Alouettes kicked the stuffing out of the visiting Ottawa Red Blacks at a 29-3 CFL victory Monday. The Alouettes moved into sole possession of second place in the East Division at 9-7, 2 points up on the Ticats. The Red Blacks, now 4-12, were officially eliminated from the postseason picture, which we all kind of knew was coming. We'll get into all the rest of the CFL Week 18 results in a moment, but it's getting good. The games are big. As I said last week, with us being in the throes of college football right now, unfortunately, CBS Sports Network is not showing too many CFL games, so I'm left to stream at CFL Plus, which is fine. I'd rather not stream, but I will. But I'm only going to stream the games that I really care about, and that was the Riders Plaza game, which we'll save for next segment because we're going to spend more time on that. But I'm happy for the Alouettes. Jason Maas, Cody Fajardo, my guys, torched in Saskatchewan, vilified. Everybody was led to believe they were the problem with the woeful Saskatchewan Roughriders last year. Whoops. And it was Dunnigan who predicted a Winnipeg-Montreal Grey Cup. Not so crazy now, is it, Moose?
No, it's not. And I got to ask you, was that the Wire copy you were reading?
Yeah. How'd you know?
Pretty. Well, I'm impressed. I know you got to give props here. Kicked the stuffing out of the Ottawa Red Blacks. That's why I smiled.
Pretty
it
good.
Wasn't I wasn't throwing shit. I wasn't throwing shade at Ottawa, but that was good. Like on Thanksgiving weekend, they kicked the stuffing out of him. I think that's just whoever wrote that.
Really good.
Bravo. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
Bravo.
But whichever
you know what?
$12 an hour intern they hired there. Most of the writing at the Canadian Press, I'd like to reach through my computer and strangle whoever wrote it. That was good. Sorry to cut you off. Continue.
No, it was great. But congratulations to Jason Maas and Cody Fajardo and the entire Alouettes organization. They continue to roll, and they're the real threat. It's wild in the East because Hamilton's peaking at the right time. Montreal's doing their thing, and Toronto. I think the East is going to be some of the best playoffs.
Okay, hang on, everybody, because you saying that, and I hope I don't lose my train of thought, choo-choo, in the next 4 minutes, because I got some really good CFL stuff percolating up here. Our CFL coverage is brought to you in part by Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beer. Check them out at sobercarpenter.com or check a retailer near you. We've sold them out of Calgary, and we've sold them out of Regina. We might have even sold them out of South Florida because people support our sponsor. We'll be back. Got a lot to get to here. It's the warm-up, and we're live on Game Plus. NFL? Oh, yeah. Haven't even got to that yet, really. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
$0.5 million per for Scheifele and Connor Hellebuck. Well, I mean, you're within the organization. Maybe you knew it was coming, but was everybody caught off guard?
I was caught off guard, actually, Ross. So it was just like we just got a quick heads up right before the announcement was made. So I was as shocked as you are. I thought for sure one of the storylines coming into the season was going to be the distraction of Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuck's impending unrestricted free agency, right? So for that to happen on the Monday before the regular season kicks off on Wednesday in Calgary, I think it was a big sigh of relief. I think for many people. And to be clear, when we've said this before too, Rod, I don't think it wasn't Mark Scheifele's, future here in Winnipeg wasn't as, I don't know, ominous as it was for Connor Hellebuck, considering the way Connor Hellebuck was talking at the end of last year. But something obviously has changed. The Jets have been cleared to both Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuck throughout the offseason and through training camp that they're not going to rebuild. They're here to win. And maybe clearly that message got through because both players have those 7-year extensions that kick in next season.
Amazing. I was just going to ask you what the signings mean, but you kind of just covered that. Listen, we're not fancy here. So when you got to go, stand up and say, I got to go, because I know the news conference is coming up. Is it just down the hall from where you're at?
Yeah, we're at Hockey for All Center, so it's just up in the restaurant. So it's a 2-minute walk. I can still run even at 51. So I stay with the Rod Pedersen diet, so I can still move with the best of them.
Okay, well, we'll keep you only for like 3 more minutes. I get, but a little deeper into that. What does it mean for the culture of this team? What do you think tipped the scales for them?
I think listen, I think Connor Hellebuck probably looked around. He had said in the beginning part of training camp, one of the things he loves about Winnipeg is the outdoor life, right? He likes to fish, he likes to hunt. And clearly Manitoba has that all over the place. I am not an outdoors person, but I've heard great things about it. And I remember talking to Winnipeg Jet alumni, Randy Carlisle, and he said, if you like being outdoors, if you like hunting, you like fishing, this is a great place to be. And clearly Connor Hellebuck's there. And also probably looking around at this team right now and realizing he still has as good a chance as any to do some damage in the playoffs. He's been clear about his next goal after winning the Vezina Trophy back in 2020, and that is winning a Stanley Cup. And clearly he feels comfortable here. His family feels comfortable here. And you know what? He's getting paid like one of the top goaltenders in the National Hockey League at $8.5 million per season, right? Starting next year. So I think that played a large role in it. And as a 30-year-old guy with 2 kids, probably feels pretty comfortable about what's going on here. There is there's a big, not so much a big shift in culture, Rod, but Blake Wheeler's out, moved on to the New York Rangers. Adam Lowry is now the captain. So, there's a lot of good players within the organization. The trade with Los Angeles changed a lot of things too. You've got 3 players that can play in your roster right now. And I think that was as good a deal as any at the beginning, back at the draft in June. I think that might have changed the minds of many a player in terms of signing here long term.
Okay, in 2 minutes, I'm going to let you go. They're talking about terms. Yeah. The viewers are saying terms, what tipped the scales. Why 7 years? Yeah. Why not 3? That's what Laine signed the last time, right? Why so long?
I just think both players obviously want to be comfortable, right? You just like this is where they want to be. They don't want to be moving in 3 years. There's a bright future here with the way the Jets have drafted. So clearly Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuck want to be a part of that, right? So it's just I don't want to speak for anybody in that aspect. 7 years is a big commitment, but I will say this, Rod. Yeah. Mark Scheifele told me yesterday. Big part of his legacy is wanting to be with one franchise his entire National Hockey League career. This deal, he'll be 39 years old. His idol growing up is Steve Yzerman. And what does Steve Yzerman do? Played 22 years with the wing wheel on his chest. Did not play for any other organization. So to be clear, that was a big part of a big plus, a big reason for wanting to sign long-term, because Mark Scheifele does not want to play for another organization. He's the first draft pick in Winnipeg Jets 2.0 history. And with this deal, it looks like he will close out his career in a Jets jersey.
Well, there you go. That's what I wanted to know. JT, quick and dirty.
I'm here
Get
for you,
out
buddy.
of here. All right. Appreciate it. Enjoy the news conference. Thanks, pal.
Thanks, my friend. Good to talk to you.
As always, Jamie Thomas from Winnipeg Jets TV. And there you go. And this is really interesting, man. I was saying to Darren this morning, I was so excited to get on the air and talk about all these things that are of interest to you because they're of interest to us. We have so many viewers in Winnipeg. Winnipeg as a city spent a little bit of time this summer as the #1 city for viewership of the RP show. It's gone back to the Queen City, but Winnipeg is right there. And Calgary's up there too. But Patrolman Pete's got a few comments here. He says excitement for this season has certainly ramped up, although some are lamenting the loss of a contract year, Scheifele. That you're getting deep there, but they're saying that Scheifele would have been hungrier if he didn't have a contract in this last. Come on, please don't split hairs like that. Don't be those people. Jay in Winnipeg says term tipped the scales, Rod. Yeah, but that's my point. Did the team want it so long? Did the players want it so long? What was it? Greg with 2 G's writes in and says, on paper, the Jets are a good team. Hopefully that translates to wins. They were on paper a good team last year and were bounced in 5 by Vegas in round 1. So it's a secondary poll question today. Are the Winnipeg Jets a legit Stanley Cup contender? Now, the answer has to be yes. And here he is on cue. John says, I would trade number 55 anytime. He's referring to Mark Scheifele. You know what? You got him long term. I don't know. Can we get past the troubled waters? Like, my God. In sports, we're supposed to forget the things that were said, forget the things that were done, Let's sign a new deal and move forward hand in hand and be chums. I'm all for that. But so many people in life, no, you said this, we're done. We're never talking again. I'm going to ruin your career. I hope they can move forward. But a lot of things have been said and done there within that organization. But bravo to Kevin Shoveldayoff, the general manager from Blaine Lake, Saskatchewan, who's a great person and clearly a great general manager. Not too many people criticizing him today. From the Puck and Pigskin podcast there in Red Deer, Alberta, Jason's the guy's name. He says, players shouldn't be comfortable. They should be accountable. I'm going to have to take issue with that, Jason, and say times have changed, brah. They need to be comfortable or they're not going to perform at maximum capability. That's just the way it is now. You know what I'm talking about. Yes, we were never comfortable. We also needed hours of therapy coming out of it. Now they need to be comfortable and happy to perform. So I'm not saying, God knows the way we were treated wasn't right. Times have changed. I'm coming around to that's probably a good thing. I love when CFL fans of other teams troll me about the results of the games. And Moose is going to be with us a little later. Maybe next segment, maybe not. I haven't even got to the sports update yet or audience takeover. We can do it without him, or we can do it with him. My favorite thing from my old last job, those of you that will remember Scruffy, he used to get off. He was the newscaster that would get off work at 5, and I would be on the air doing the Sports Cage radio show, and Scruffy would text me, do you need me? Well, I'm not going to kiss your ass, Scruffy. Like, I'll take you, but the show goes on, whether you're here or not. And, of course, he would wiggle his way down the hallway, and we'd have a great show. But we can do this with or without Moose. It's up to him, is the long-winded point. So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers won in overtime at BC Friday night in CFL action, 34-26. Winnipeg over BC. It took Kevin the Medium days from our sales staff, the biggest BC Lions fan I know, to show his face after the BC Lions succumbed in overtime at BC Place Friday night to the Bombers. Jason Soretta is written in here, 902-518-3033 on the text line for EMJ Marketing. Jason in Winnipeg says, hi, Rod. Winnipeg Blue Bombers by 10 points tonight, buddy. Signed, Jason Soretta in Winnipeg. Well, it didn't quite happen, but they did win. And if you went back and read my 10 things column from the weekend, I said if I was... Okay, 2 things came out of that game. Number 1, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers proved that they are still the kings of the CFL West for now. And number 2, the BC Lions, if I were them, I would be Rick Campbell, the head coach, telling the players, that's not the game we needed to win. Refresh my memory, 2013 Grey Cup, if I'm right. Grey Cup season. Was D.A. at the reunion? Did you see Clark? Dwight Anderson? Was D.A. there? Of all the photos, I don't think I saw D.A. The best ones weren't there. But I remember we went to Calgary late October, and I was calling the Rider games at the time on the radio. We lost October 2013. And D.A., right after the game, got in the TV camera, and he goes, this wasn't the game we needed to win. We're coming back here in the West Final. We're going to kick their ass and go to the Grey Cup and win it. And guess what? We did. From the text line, Ashley in Prince George, BC, writes in and says, is there going to be a Sportsnet hockey, fantasy hockey pool this year? I don't know, ask Sportsnet. Right, Clark? Was that rude? John says, it's on my Sportsnet on Shaw. The number 98 Bedard game. Oh, they're calling it the Bedard game now, huh? I saw on the poll here, I just checked the poll for Key Auto Group. Over 70% of respondents on Twitter saying Sidney Crosby is going to have more points tonight than the next one, Connor Bedard. But we're all going to be watching. Jen at the Four Seasons writes in and says, the game is on Sportsnet West tonight. Not sure why the Tampa game starts at 3:30. Because, my dear, it is a triple header. If I could do the ESPN NHL tune, I'd do it, but I can't. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's close, hey, Clark? It's a triple header tonight.
Bingo!
5:30 Eastern, Nashville at Tampa Bay. The Andre Vasilevsky-less Tampa Bay Lightning home to Nashville. And then that's at 5:30. And then at 8, it is the next one, Connor Bedard at the Pittsburgh Penguins and Sidney Crosby. And then at 10:30, the Seattle Kraken visit the Vegas Golden Knights. So they're going to tightly squeeze them all in. That'll be worth watching right there. Whether they can get all the games in on schedule, I bet you they don't. But they're going to try. Dang it. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, writes in and says, no DA, no Dressler. With a weird-looking emoji. Weston has his reasons. Let's leave it at that. We'll be back. We got a sports update coming up. I'm not done with the CFL stuff. We've got a topic that's getting a surprising amount of play. Still a lot to get to here in hour one. Allie in Texarkana says, I am going to have hockey on my TV, and I can't wait. Same here, sis. Plus, I'm going on a podcast out of New York today with Jimmy Finizzi. That's his real name, Jimmy Finizzi. And we're going to talk about the New York Rangers. We'll be back in a moment on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Yay, doesn't look like we got a moose, but that's okay. I can handle it. As I was saying earlier, I love when the fans of other CFL teams, of any CFL teams, call in or write in to troll me. I'm okay with it because it tells me you're all listening to what I say. And Bomber Boy in Calgary writes in on the EMJ marketing text line 902-518-33, says, just wondering if RP enjoyed a non-traditional bird for Thanksgiving. I heard that perhaps a healthy portion of crow was being served after the Bombers gutted out an OT victory over BC. Well, I didn't obviously not stay up and watch the end of the game at all out here on the East Coast, but I did watch the highlights. I'm not an idiot. And if the BC player, was it Rhymes or was it whoever it was, if he'd gone down inbounds and ran and stopped the clock, I don't remember how it worked. It was an error, let's put it that way, that cost the BC Lions the win in regulation. And then if they execute it properly, none of you were saying a word. That was the sense I got coming out of the game, that the BC Lions did it to themselves. And I was that close to being right about the prediction. Not my fault what they do on the field. And having said that, Blake is watching in Surrey, BC on Game Plus TV, and he writes that, he says, can we please talk about the horrible officiating on both sides of that game? I'm not the type of fan to usually complain about officiating, but both teams lost their challenges on questionable calls that didn't get overturned. Blake must be a new viewer watching on Shaw Channel 230, because here's my take on officiating. We're all human. We all make mistakes. And I don't want to talk about officiating unless my team gets screwed. Other than that, I don't want to talk about it because it happens. I don't understand how it can go. We all understand mistakes happen on the field. But when it goes to review, and they have 37 different vantage points of it, and they still screw it up. I can't. You want to talk about it? What do you want to talk about? It makes no sense. I will just say this. I had one longtime VP of officiating tell me that, Rod, 10 people could look at one piece of film, have 10 different people look at it, and they'll come away with 10 different perspectives on the one play, the one view. So I guess, can we say if they screwed up on both sides, then it was even? That's about all I'm willing to talk about on that. But accidents happen. Which, furthermore, you didn't mean to get me going on a tangent, did you, Blake? Because that's what you did. All these new viewers need to know that I did call football and hockey for 30 years, and I don't want to do it anymore for a variety of reasons. But one was the 2017 East CFL Final. Via the crossover, we, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, visited the Toronto Argonauts. Mike Babcock and Mitch Marner were there together. It's pretty ironic, in the crowd. And our quarterback, Kevin Glenn, got taken out with a clothesline hit right here. Surprised it didn't kill him. No penalty. Argos go on to win the game by less than 7. And I'm on the air going, well, I guess the CFL wants the Argos to be in the Grey Cup. And I just got so much stuff flung at me, and most horrible things were said about me. Obviously called conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat. He's got no credibility, blah, blah, blah. A couple years later, I'm out of the league. And I had somebody say to me, you're right. That's the problem. See things before everybody else or report the truth, get called crazy, and then find out after the fact I was right all along. To the sports update, one of hockey's greatest stars and one of its newest are set to meet for the very first time tonight. Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins host highly touted rookie Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks on the opening night of the NHL season. Also tonight, the Stanley Cup champion Vegas Golden Knights welcome Seattle, and Tampa Bay entertains Nashville. Chad Minton's going to be with us from the Catfish podcast. He covers the Predators. I was on his show last week, and I'm like, this guy's good. I want to bring him on. What's the official name of his podcast, Clark? I was Catfish on Ice. How about that? I'm on his show going, you are Tim McGraw with a Predators hat on, backwards. That's what he's like. Tim McGraw with a Predators hat on, backwards. He's going to be on here tomorrow. We'll be breaking down that game, the Lightning and the Preds tonight, because you just can't get enough. One thing he brought up on the podcast last week was Tanner Jeannot. Predators fans have not gotten over Nashville trading away Oxbow, Saskatchewan's Tanner Jeannot last year at the trade deadline, and I wouldn't have got over it either. And they meet tonight. Should be a humdinger. The 7 Canadian NHL teams are all on the ice tomorrow. That's Wednesday. Toronto welcomes Montreal. Doesn't get better than that, baby. Ottawa visits Carolina. Vancouver is home to Edmonton, and Calgary entertains Winnipeg. And I bet you the Jets wish they were playing tonight. With the big news that Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuyck have signed twin 7-year contract extensions worth $8.5 million per. Toronto's Scotiabank Arena is undergoing a $350 million renovation. The multi-year project will feature new and upgraded premium areas. Enlarged concourses will use artificial intelligence to accelerate food and drink purchases. MLSE says all in-bowl seating will eventually be replaced. The arena originally opened in 1999. The Texas Rangers host the Baltimore Orioles in Game 3 of their American League Division Series tonight. The Orioles are in must-win mode after dropping the first 2 games. In the early game, the Minnesota Twins return home for Game 3 against the defending World Series champion Houston Astros. That series is tied 1-1. The sports update is for Common Crown Brewing Company. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their core 5. Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale, 4 of which sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. Okay, a lot of business taken care of in this segment. When we come back, audience takeover, go into the text line, the YouTube stream, so get your comments in now. We'll be back in a moment on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Welcome back, everybody. For audience takeover. Ba-ba-ba-boom. Yeah. Hey, BW Deventon says, I tried to find the cats and bolts on YouTube, only found the catfish on ice. Try again today. I just posted it in the chat. Our podcast that we're actually getting more views than we thought that we would. Allie in Texarkana says, wow, that hour just flew by. The good stuff does. It was designed that way, just so you know. We don't want a show that drags at all. Kevin the Medium writes in regarding the way that Bomber-Lions game ended the other night. He says, yeah, still not over it, Rod. This one will burn my soul for a while. Rhymes could have done so many things. First, get down. Second, kick the ball through the end zone. Yeah, I read it right. That's how close they were to winning it, and they blew it. Arlen Bruce writes in, says, great morning, RP. Showed out the 305, the 954. That's the area codes around here. I'm the 561, by the way, AB. He says the 604, the 204, the 778, the 514, the 905, the 416. What about the 306, AB? Hockey night in Canada, says Arlen Bruce. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, man. Your lips to our ears, God's ears. Opening night in the National Hockey League. Dun, 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 dun. 3 games. Poll question today is how many, who has more points tonight? Connor Bedard or Sidney Crosby? And last I looked, 70% on Twitter saying it'll be Sid the Kid. What are they saying on YouTube, Clark? Do you have an update on who will have more points tonight? What do they got? Interest. 54% voting for Connor Bedard. I'm telling you, he is everywhere. The Americans that are watching right now cannot argue that. Because, I mean, if you don't watch ESPN, then he probably wouldn't be everywhere. But he's all over ESPN. How about that? Bomber Boy writes in from Calgary on the 902 text line, and he says, any worries that Bedard will be targeted like other rookie superstars have been in the past, or do the Hawks have enough protection for such an event? Well, that's a really good question. I don't think Connor needs protection. So far, so good. Tune in and find out, as they say. I remember calling the game on television in junior in his rookie season when he got hit so hard. I'm not sure if you were working that game, Clark. It was against Brandon. He cut over the blue line on his off wing, cut into the middle, and kaboom! It was one of those hits that, and trust me, I played enough out. I wasn't always a goalie. It was one of those hits that you felt from your ankles to your shoulders. Oh, when your guts shift. I'm up at the booth wanting to yell, stop the game! The Holy Child's been hit! But nope, he popped right up. Like a Timex watch, took a licking, kept on ticking. Will that happen in the NHL? Tune in and find out. But I think he'll be fine. I gotta try and get back on point. There's a lot of things that I did not get to that I want to. I'm going to kick this around with Moose next hour. And we got Arlen Bruce III checking in here. NFL, CFL alum. I'm just finding this story. Point 5 from our quick 6, because I never even got to them all. The NFL's ongoing push for worldwide exposure got another boost when organizers of the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics delivered a proposal to put flag football on the program when the Summer Games return to the United States for the first time in 32 years. The IOC will vote on the proposal later this week. Also included on the LA proposal were baseball and softball, lacrosse, squash, and cricket. They're not all going to get on. I want to spend more time on this with Darren next hour because you don't understand. There's a reason he's got a USA football over his shoulder on his set today. We went in along with Serena in July and broadcast USA Football's National Flag Championships. It was on the Olympic Network, for the love of Pete, and the home team app. It was a really big deal. And at that time, we were told by USA Football officials that we're really hoping to be in the Olympics in LA in 2028, but the host committee needs to put us forth. And they did. This was Monday. It's got moved forward. And there's more that I'll get into next hour. But ahead of these other sports, baseball, softball, lacrosse, squash, and cricket, and I got in a small Twitter, not an argument, but a discussion with a guy yesterday. And he's like, it should be tackle football. And I'm like, no, it shouldn't. They don't play it worldwide. That sport's too dangerous en masse. Flag football is perfect if you knew enough about it. It's being played worldwide. Kids from the age of 6 to 40, competitively. Men, women. It's ideal. Flag football, let's get behind it. That's how I feel. And I'm the one with the show. But we'll debate it a little more next hour, plus the NFL stuff we didn't get to. Haven't even talked about the Riders yet. Have they hit rock bottom? Oh, I don't think so. Still got a ways to go. Stick around after this brief pause on Game Plus TV and Key Radio.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oleg in Winnipeg writes in, says, Rod is fighting so hard. My awesome comments. One day I'll win him over for one. Well, at least you're now speaking in first person. The fact that you've been writing in third person for several years, I refuse to read your comments in third person. So that's why, Oleg, if you spoke like a normal person, I'd read your comment. How about that?
How about that? This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay, hi everybody. Hey. Welcome. 2-hour time change is a bit of a pain. All right, the Moose is here. The Moose is loose. We're having a great day. Hey, your pillow just fell over. Your Titans, very apropos.
Isn't that just
Tennessee
a sign,
Titans.
hey?
Yeah, what's their record now?
Yeah, 2-3.
Yeah, there's a lot of 2 and 3 teams. A lot of 2 and 3
right in
teams
the mix.
coming out of week 5. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, they're right in the mix. But you start putting losses on the board. You get behind pretty early, but they're right in the mix, and in what's going to be a fight of a division all year with Jacksonville and Houston and Indy.
Yeah. Speaking of Indy, did you watch ESPN this morning at all?
Yes.
Did you see Jeff Saturday on the panel delivering his pancake blocks? You did see it, didn't you?
Yeah.
You were talking, you mentioned they had PK Subban on there, and I was like,
that's right.
I'm having this brain moment. I'm like, was Jeff Saturday not coaching the Colts just last year? Now he's back on the panel doing his pancake. Did that happen, or did I dream that?
I had the exact same thought this morning when I was watching it. I was watching him on the panel. I'm like, he was just coaching. Like, literally yesterday, it feels like he was coaching in the National Football League, and now he's right back on the panel.
Oh, man. I had a guy write me on the weekend. Paul Jefferson is his name. From Humboldt, and he said, man, I come for the sports on the RP show, but I stay for the life lessons. And I chuckle a little bit because I've screwed up like literally everything that I've touched in my life, and I'm just trying to get people not to do the same thing. And the people that know me real well know that. But the one thing that I would say is just be happy. people always striving for what they don't have, not being appreciative of what they do have. I want to say that's like 98% of society. And that's a big reason why so many people are unhappy. They're not happy with what they have. And I look at Jeff Saturday because I'm watching this morning going, dang, he is so good on there. Why can't you just be happy with having won a Super Bowl as a player with the Colts and being on ESPN, which is less than the 1% of the 1% of people that want to be on there, doing what you do. But no, you got to go coach. He's damn lucky they took his ass back. Don't you think?
Especially with all the cuts that they made and everything to hold a spot for him to come back. I mean, you're right. He is lucky. And I know he's only on there, certain days of the week. But, man, I mean, that just tells you what they think of him. And there's very few guys and gals in this business and in, sports in general or in the world that have that ability and that personality that they're just going to be welcomed wherever they go.
So some fun stuff here. Ryan is watching in upstate New York. And thank you, Ryan, for having me on your show last week. The No Credentials Required podcast. Ryan says, I totally forgot that Jeff Saturday was the interim coach of the Colts last season. So did I. I was watching that today going, did he just coach? Okay, a couple things. John Ohm, who still has not stopped partying from the Jets signing Scheifele and Hellebuck to long-term deals. That's the big news. And what's awesome about this show, there's so many awesome things about this show, but one is we could go live to the Jets facility like we did in hour one with Jamie Thomas and break down the Scheifele and Hellebuck signings. 7 years each, $8.5 million. There's no reason for negativity or pessimism in Winnipeg with regards to the hockey team. None. You have no excuse to be down on this team now. Just go cheer for them as they start at Calgary Wednesday night. And as I said last hour, I bet the Jets wish they were playing tonight. And I did see this morning, you probably did too, you said you were watching at the same time. They got the Boston Bruins, for whatever reason, they brought up as the 9th favorite. Picked 9th from the top favorite to win the Stanley Cup. And I wouldn't have them anywhere near that with what they lost in terms of personnel from last year, but that's just me. Bergeron and who else? Pasternak didn't shut her down.
No, but Bertuzzi's gone.
Krejci, David Krejci. Yeah. And Taylor Hall, which they wanted to get rid of them, but that's just a lot of change. Sorry. Darren, I'm just checking the comments here. She says, I love... Allie in Texarkana says, I love how Rod says Sid's and Connor's names. I love it, too. It's memorable. Sidney Crosby. Because that's Mike Lang, the legendary voice of the Penguins, which he doesn't do the games in. Sidney Crosby. And Connor Bedard. If you don't know who Connor Bedard is now, you're living under a rock. Everybody knew him in Canada, but in America, they're just pumping the hell out of him. It's unreal. Darren couldn't believe the coverage on ESPN, and as I pointed out to you, it's because they're a rights holder. What we did cover last hour, just to, for those that just tuned in, we talked about Las Vegas beating Green Bay 17-13 on Monday Night Football. First Raiders win over the Packers in 36 years. I had to do a, Since 1987, that's a fact, Jack. T. Will from Winnipeg writes in. He goes, did I miss the Scheifele Hella talk? It was all last hour, bro. All last hour, okay? We got to move on. We can't cater to every single person that shows up here. It's like that coffee shop. Bell rings at the front. Guy comes and sits down an hour late. So, guys, what'd you think about the game last night? We just talked about it for the last hour. Show up on time next time. Sorry. Try to give people what they want, but they got to be respectful of our time. And as I said, we didn't even get to what the Riders did on the weekend. We talked a lot about the Blue Bombers and the BC Lions as well. We talked a lot about the Alouettes thumping Ottawa. And before we forget, and we will get to that Riders situation in a moment, but the NFL's, I'll read this. I don't know if you saw me saying it last hour. The NFL's ongoing push for worldwide exposure got another boost on Monday when organizers of the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics delivered a proposal to put flag football on the program when the Summer Games return to the U.S. for the first time in 32 years. The IOC will vote on the proposal later this week. Also included on that LA proposal were baseball, softball, lacrosse, squash, and cricket. I think a lot about this. People see you and I for 2 hours a day. They don't see what we're doing the other 22 hours out of the day. They think this is all we do. You know, and for those that are actually paying attention, because I know some of you are, we spent a week in Charlotte, North Carolina. And Darren, I don't know about you, it was one of the greatest weeks of my life. Beautiful city, great people to be around. We broadcast 6, 7, 8 games per day of the USA Football National Flag Championships. It was big time. It was on the Olympic Network. We had, what was the number, 27,000 people watching the streaming alone? Like, people don't understand. They don't get it. But I don't care. Somebody stood beside me on the sidelines from Canada, because there was a lot of Canadian teams there, right? And we're watching this huge crowd for USA Mexico. And the guy says to me, oh, in Canada, people think flag's no big deal. But I mean, down here, look. And I said, I don't care what they think in Canada. They're behind. By the time they catch up and realize how big it is, we're going to be gone. Not to mention broadcasting the events. You were there. You were right beside me. And Serena, too. She was doing the sidelines. Hey, Rod, the USA Football people pulling me. Hey, Rod, your guest at halftime is going to be Torrey Holt. I'm like, the Super Bowl 34 winner? Of the St. Louis Rams? Yeah, yeah, sign me up. Next game, Rod, your guest is going to be Torrey Gurley, Green Bay Packers, Cleveland Browns alum. The next game, Rod, your guest is going to be the president and CEO of USA Football, Scott Helleman. Just a parade, right, of guests. It's a huge deal. I think by the time people realize what we were doing there, Darren and Charlotte, not to mention just having a hell of a time at the best barbecue place we've ever been in our life. Do you remember the name?
Oh, man. No, I don't. When you say it, I'm going to slap myself. Midwood. Yeah, Midwood.
Midwood's Barbecue. By the time they'll figure it out, it'll be the 2028 Olympics, and they'll go, oh, that's what they were doing in Charlotte. And we were legitimately 5 years ahead of them. So what do you think about this proposal?
It's huge. And, you know, you talk about Canada being behind, and Canada's actually, you know, the flag program at the adult level is really strong. And along, you know, among all these countries, I mean, Canada, USA, Mexico, very, very good, right? So there's already a strong base. It's growing. It checks a lot of boxes, right? The decrease in injuries and violence. And, you know, even though while it's still a somewhat physical game, the talent's on display. It meets all those Olympic criteria. It's going to be
1:11 Eastern. It's 1:11 Eastern. Continue.
Of course it is. Of course it is. So, no, it's just fun to be a part of it and be, you know, it feels like, and flag has been around for a while, but it feels like this is the ground floor of flag football, and it's only going up. And it'll start with the Olympics. It'll get massive exposure. The NFL's involvement is huge, so I love it.
I just want to, well, that's the whole of the thing. The NFL was all around, the NFL people. I had high expectations for what Charlotte, North Carolina was going to be, and it met and exceeded those. By the way, Scruffy's just texted me for something that I said last hour, so we're sharing a little bit of a chuckle there. But I just want to point out, I'm not saying Canada as a football nation isn't behind anything. But Canada as a sports nation, as a country, is way behind. And that's why I'm tired. I'm done, clearly, trying to convince people. How many times have I said it? Just watch. Oh, he's not the voice of the Riders anymore. Is he going to be okay? Are you okay? You're not with the Riders. The Riders are dead. They're not circling the toilet. They've gone down the toilet. When are you going to wake up and smell the coffee? We've moved on to the next thing. They're not going to step outside the vacuum. They're not going to think outside their little purview Just stop asking me about it. Now, having said all of that, I did say that we were going to get around to the CFL thing. And the way the next 2 weeks are shaping up in the CFL is, you better be sitting down. In that, if this works out to fruition the way the people in Calgary were telling me they thought that it would, and I'm saying the football people, not the Stampeders people, the football people. They're two different things. Like there's hockey people in Calgary and there's Flames people. Yeah. People are getting, you get it, Darren. I'm just hoping everybody's following along here. The football people in Calgary were saying, we started slow, but we'll get it figured out in the end. Huff always does. Dickey always does. I'm like, were you meaning that if going into week 19, if you beat Sask in your own park on Friday night and then win one of your next two, you're going to overcome the Riders for the final playoff? Is that what you meant? There's no way anybody could have seen this coming. There's no way. And I thought the Riders losing their last 7 in a row last year to finish 6-12 in a year that they were hosting the Grey Cup and having the president say, we predicted this a down year, and people believed it, which is whatever. You come back, and it's worse this year. How is this being allowed to happen? And I feel like that's the way that we're going. I don't know, but what would lead you to believe that that isn't the way that it's going?
I mean, you have to go by the evidence that you see. And unfortunately, there's no evidence to suggest it's going to get turned around. It's unfortunate because there's good people that we like on that team, on the sideline, on the field every week trying to turn this thing around, and it's just not going that way. And you thought this week of all weeks was going to be it. The emotion of George Reed, the emotion of the 2013 Grey Cup champions coming back in, one of the best teams we've ever seen in Saskatchewan coming back in. Hamilton, a team that has struggled throughout the year and hasn't been dominant. This was supposed to be all the makings of a slump buster and a game that could really turn the tide and lead you to great things in the playoffs. And it was probably coming out of that game the lowest that we've seen this team in a long time, in this franchise in a long time. The lowest. I mean, social media was flooded, and you saw it from Dickey, from Craig, from everybody in the organization. The word embarrassing doesn't really get thrown around a lot by the teams and the players in sports. Fans all the time. But it was thrown around a lot coming out of this game, and that tells you how bad it is.
I just wonder if they're at any point going to wake up and smell the coffee. Like I saw it too, the whole, how could you on Plaza Weekend and George Reed's Death Week play like this? I'm looking at the roster going, who are these people in green? They've been here 5 minutes. Do you think they give a rat's ass about George Reed or the 2013 Ryder Grey Cup team? They don't even know who they are. Give me a break. Like, I don't have any idea who's, I'm not even going to name them because I can't remember the names. This happened and you didn't even notice it. T-Will from Winnipeg says, listening to Rod say the Riders are dead is making me giggle like a schoolgirl. Jeff the Stamps fan says, what a dud at Mosaic on such a significant, perfect Saturday, but the real story isn't the team, it's the fans. A half-empty Mosaic confirms Rider Pride is dead. Will any of you be at McMahon Friday? Well, I won't. I know Darren won't. Probably some of our viewers will. John Ohm. Rod's rant. Yes! Wake up. Wake up. We'll be back. I barely started my thoughts. We might get into those when we come back. On opening night of the NHL Season 2. We haven't even talked NFL. So hang on. We'll be right back on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
2 million liters of power creates electricity. Electricity creates.
View Casino. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey everybody, Manscaped has done it again, introducing the Handyman Facial Razor. It's brand new and not for your junk, it's for up top. And like every Manscaped product, tons of thoughts gone into it. Sleek, compact, and charges by USB. We all have problems fitting our razors into the shaving kit, right, for road trips? Not anymore. Order the Handyman today at manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code VRP Show. I'm in South Florida. Moose is in the Toronto studio. And are you, Moose? I go back and forth with the cheap razor that I bought at Shoppers Drug Mart at the 2022 Grey Cup, where I ran into Glenn Suter. I won't tell you the contents of that conversation while we were both paying at the self-checkout. And he, for those that don't know, was the Troy Aikman of Canada, broadcast-wise, not football on the field-wise. I go back and forth between the cheap one and this really good one. How I feel about the Handyman razor from Manscaped is I only use it for special occasions. You know what I mean? I don't want to wear it out. This thing is, I'm not joking. And for what I paid for the cheap razor, when I say cheap, it's like $100, but it was still cheap. You can get for the same cost with a promo code VRP Show at manscaped.com, get a 4 times better razor for the same price as the cheap ones. There. This thing is awesome. Isn't it, Moose?
It's the best. It really is. I was impressed. I was telling you, I don't like the electric razors. I really don't. And I wouldn't say anything about a product unless I would actually use it. But this thing doesn't burn. Like it's so smooth. It's easy. You know, if you're going, like, the way I think it's so cool is when you're going out at night, you know, and you want to just get rid of the 5 o'clock shadow, it's like zip, 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 done. You could be all dressed and ready to go and just get yourself a little cleanup and away you go. It's awesome. You can't beat it.
Oh, although I was listening to WQEE radio yesterday, driving home from the Keys, and they were playing the long version of the Manscaped podcast ad, right, Ryan, on radio? It was like 90 seconds long. I'm like, we got to trim that thing down. We got to take the Manscaped to the podcast ad, trim it down a little, Moose. So I know that's not my department, but we got to get on it. From the text line brought to you by EMJ Marketing, 902-518-3033. I'm laughing because of the comments that are coming in from the audience. They're quite entertained today, Moose. That is the idea. By the way, at EMJ Marketing, they'll provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Contact Joe at emjmarketing.com and book him today. Jason in Winnipeg says, Rod, you know what really grinds my gears. LOL. I love it. Did I say what really grinds my gears? Did I say that? I don't feel like I did. Or did I?
No.
Last segment.
No.
Yeah. I think I might have when I said people just don't understand that I'm not the voice of the riders anymore. It's only been 5 years. Like, I don't care. I had a lady text me the other day. You know, Rod, we've been talking about it, and we finally think we need to move on and get a new president for the team. I don't care. Janny from Sask writes in on the 902. I was talking to a few of the 2013 rider team, and they are all so sad for the state of our organization. We need more than a shakeup in the coaching office. We need a board that gives up. We need an overhaul high up. Well, let us know when you get to that. We'll be over here doing our thing. Kirk in Tirana writes in 902 line, and he says, hi, Rod. 150 years, same name, same colors. Again, your lips to God's ears. Argos, blue and white for 150 years. I love that. Quite interesting, too. You know, you got your Jets jacket on there. Last hour, Jamie Thomas from Jets TV saying that Mark Scheifele wanted to play for the same team for his whole career, just like Steve Yzerman. You knew I fell out of favor with the commissioner of the CFL, Jeffrey P. Orridge, when, like, his first official act was changing the logo. I lost my cotton-picking mind when they did that. It was the 2015 Grey Cup. I was there in the convention room, downtown Winnipeg. It was a surprise! We're changing the CFL logo. At a news conference, they announced this, Darren. There was no hint of it getting out, and I'm like, oh, yeah, because Dairy Queen's changed their... McDonald's changes their logo. Coke changes their logo. Heinz Ketchup changes their logo. NFL changes it every 5 years, don't they? What are you doing? Now, yes, it's grown on me, but I still loved the helmet with the red maple leaf and the CFL in the middle of it. Well, how are you on that? With logos, iconic logos. You see the Baltimore...
I like the last one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I like the last one.
Which one?
It's what I grew up with.
That was good, too.
Right? That's what I grew up with.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I mean, you're right. The new one grows on you, and it will grow on you over time, maybe. But I just, yeah, I don't know. I think, you know, you sit there and you say, well, the old regime didn't put enough thought into the logo. They weren't the right people to design the logo, so we got to redo it. And the next regime might think the same way. But at some point, you got to stick with something for a long, long time and build tradition and everything around it. And a logo is just a logo, but it's a symbol of your league. And I wish we didn't have so many versions of the logo. I really do.
Well, we see it all the time. People come in and want to change things. That was Orridge's deal. I'm the new commissioner. I'm going to change the logo. Who did you consult with this? It was like to me, one of the worst moments in Canadian Football League history when they did that, especially when during the game, all the officials were wearing hats with the old logo. The Grey Cup game broadcast to 150 million people around the world. Did you want to get the refs new hats? Now we got a holy war going on in the comments section here. What's so funny?
No, but it's true. Like, just you try and rush it out, and it's like the logo's done. Why aren't we releasing it? Well, you got to get it out. But you're right. Like, you got to make sure that there's no traces of the old logo. If you're gonna do a rebrand, the new logo's got to be everywhere, ideally, including everybody that's on the field during the game.
That's why when the day comes, if you, Darren, one day, or the fine people at Game Plus Television or WQEU Radio just tap me on the shoulder and say, Rod, this was our last show, we're done, I'll be like, thank you, thanks for the memories, bye-bye. Because I can't sit and fight and argue. Like, after that Orange thing, I remember the next year at the Grey Cup, one of the top lieutenants of the CFL, and I don't mind his name saying it because he's not there anymore, Kevin McDonald, came up to me at the commissioner's news conference and goes, it's a good thing. You and commissioner need to get along. You two need to kiss and make up. I'm like, he's an idiot. I can't do it. I tried. I can't. Do what I mean? I just can't.
Yeah.
And he didn't last but another year. That's the thing, like with Bettman, Serena and I argue about it all the time. She doesn't like him. I do. Although she's come around on it quite a bit because of the way she was treated at the Stanley Cup final by the National Hockey League. Funny how she's changed her tune. But Bettman, I sit there and look. I talk like she's in the house. She's not. She's at a conference. She's gone all week. And what do? Eat too much cereal until my stomach hurts. But I look at Gary Bettman's time, global expansion, made the owners a lot of money. Global expansion of the league, 21 teams to now 32 teams. I find a tough time finding anything wrong with Gary Bettman's tenure. And he was, I'd be the first to tell you, in the 90s, he was anti-Canada, but he figured it out. That was the thing with Orange. I used to say, after that weekend where they changed the logo, I was distraught for days. Anybody that knows me would know, you especially, I could barely sleep. I'm telling anybody that would listen, CFL stewards, take Orange and lock him in a closet with a history book and a league guide and directory and a rule book and say, don't come out until you memorize the damn thing. Because you know what? When I started in the CFL, I didn't know any more about the CFL than he did. Or Bettman of the NHL, but I learned it. And Gary learned it. And Orange wasn't interested in learning it. With regards, by the way, we haven't talked nearly enough hockey yet, and we'll come around on that. Matthew Barnaby coming up next segment. But with the Riders sucking again, and they're 6-10, Jeff Gordon writes in. He's a Rider fan. He came to our Grey Cup party. He says, not an excuse, but could Trevor Harris being healthy help the year? Or is the mental breakdown after the Winnipeg beatdown just part of this team's makeup? If you want to blame injuries and that helps you sleep better at night, you do what you got to do. In the recovery world, I'm a whatever works guy. Whatever gets you through the night, brah. Sure. Our quarterback got hurt, so we're not going to fire anybody. Oh, okay. Yeah. Any thoughts, Moose?
On that's just, that doesn't work, right? Hamilton's quarterback got hurt. They're finding a way to get into the playoffs, right? It happens. Teams' quarterbacks get hurt, and you find a way to get in and figure out how to get into the playoffs. So it's just an excuse, no. But man,
I see.
This show's been a lot of fun.
Oh, whoa. Yeah. Patrolman Pete says, I swear their first, Patrolman Pete says, I get the impression that the CFL head office, other than the commissioner, is filled with a bunch of Toronto people who don't understand the league or its culture at all. I swear their first exposure to the CFL came only once they started cashing paychecks from the league. And I'm not sure if Matthew Barnaby is watching this or not, but this is what a lot of this industry's become. And I can't speak to too many other industries because I haven't worked at any other ones. But it's a lot of people that it's just a job, especially now that I'm here in Miami and I'm going to the Dolphins games and I'm around the people, the college, NHL, NBA. It's just a job to a lot of people, where it really used to be in your heart, and it's just a job to a lot of people. And that hurts, but that's the way that it is, right? It ain't going back. So do we have Barney logged in yet, Clark? Do we have Matthew Barnaby logged in yet? Okay. Moose, I'll bid you adieu. Have a great Toronto day.
All right. You too.
Opening night in the National Hockey League, and we'll get to it all with Matthew Barnaby, 18th all-time in NHL penalty minutes when we return. We're live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult, because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
We are back and ready to talk some hockey on opening night. And who better to do it with than one of our best pals on the show, Matthew Barnaby, joining us, famed NHL pest. Oh, my God, Barney. Listen, your name comes up all the time, my dude. Hey, how are you, man? Where are you at?
I'm awesome. I'm in Naples, Florida with my son. He's playing for the Everblades in the East Coast League. So I didn't want him driving down 25 hours by himself. So I made the trip, and of course it's getting a little cold back home in Canada, as you know, so why not stay here for a few weeks and then a few months. So nice to be on the show. Love you,
Buddy, I was just at that Ford Garage restaurant a couple of weeks ago. There's like an antique car over your right shoulder, right? Fantastic. Have the burger, right or left. I know exactly where it is. Barney, your name comes up because I was having lunch with Bill Lindsay last week. How many times would you say you fought Bill Lindsay in your career?
I think we only fought once. I think it was like very early on in my career, and we fought. Great guy, great player. He's such a big part of that Florida franchise when they began. I haven't seen him in a long time, so please pass well my wishes to him. He's a great dude. He was a great player and played a long, long time.
A great, unreal guy like yourself. And the one thing he said was, it was in the food court of the Boca Town Center Mall. He's like, one thing with Barney is he never got hurt. He goes, you'd just clock him and he'd sit there and smile at you. Did the punches not hurt, Barney?
You know what? I never I never felt a punch. I've had over 400 fights, including junior and that. And it's weird. I never felt a punch while it happened. I kind of took myself to a different place when I was fighting, and most of the guys that I fought, Bill was close to my size, but when you fight the guys like Stu Grimson, you really got to take yourself to a different spot, and just psychologically, I did that. I was able to do that. Now, the next day it hurt, or when I got to the penalty box and I was cut, it might have hurt, but I was pretty good at being in good shape so I could have the longevity in a fight. To go a long, long time. But ultimately, that's why I retired. I mean, I ended up having 12 concussions. Even though maybe I didn't look like it hurt, certainly it paid a toll as years went on.
That was a tough one. And now that I think about it, I think I sat at that exact table. But Billy said, he goes, well, I didn't hate Barney. I just couldn't hurt him. You couldn't hurt the guy. So to our poll question today, for Key Auto Group, it's who has more points tonight, Connor Bedard or Sidney Crosby? What do you think?
Well, I'm going to go with the veteran. I'm going to go with Sidney Crosby. Connor Bedard is a special, special person. I have him set at like 65.5 points for the year. It's going to be between him and Logan Cooley, I think, for the Calder. But, man, he's a special guy to watch. But give me Sidney Crosby. I think he's going to have a great year again.
Is the hype too much? I mean, you've been down here, and you're like me. I assume you've had your television on ESPN. If you've had it on, it's all Bedard, like as much as anything. And I'm talking NFL, baseball playoffs. Is it too much or no?
Anytime a guy comes into the league with expectations, the last one we saw like this was Connor McDavid. We've seen what he's been able to do. I don't think he's going to be anything close to a Connor McDavid. I think that's too much pressure to put on one. But this guy's very mature. He handles the media. Absolutely does not faze him at all. I think he's going to be a special player in this league. But I don't think he's ever going to reach what we've seen with Connor McDavid. He's the best offensive player I've ever seen. Just at this level where he's at right now. But Connor Bedard is going to be a very good player for Chicago for a lot of years.
Well, as you say, he's not McDavid. He's not Sid. He's Connor Bedard. But I'll tell you what, I'd love to see them lined up on a target shooting, maybe at our sponsor, Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, and see who would win. I'd put Bedard ahead of McDavid.
Yeah, he's got the Austin Matthews release. It's uncanny, his release that he has, and he's going to score a lot of goals. You know, the NHL, like, we look at preseason, he's had a lot of success early in preseason, but now he's going to go up against all-star defensemen, the top pairing every single time. So that's going to be an adjustment for him, but we know his shot. We've seen it when he played for Team Canada. When he gets on the power play and he has time and space, watch out. He's going to score some very nice goals, Austin Matthews-esque.
I saw this come up somewhere, can't remember where, but I'm going to put it to you. Chances the Vegas Golden Knights repeat as Stanley Cup champions. Good chance or not a good chance in your mind?
I'd say not a good chance. It's very hard to do. I have Colorado coming back and winning it. I think they ran into the injury bug a lot last year. Listen, Vegas has a great team. Could they do it? Yeah, but you're giving me another, 14, 15 teams to choose from. Florida, obviously Tampa Bay. There's just so many really good teams out there. So to go back to back is a really, really hard thing to do. And, they're a very good team, but I don't see it happening again.
Just sprinkling in some viewer comments. Ted in Red Deer says, I've read Barney's book. What a great read and stories. Oh, it's fantastic. And as I've said to Matthew, it is as much I believe, Barney, an inspirational self-help book. I don't know if you meant that when you wrote it or not, but that's what I got out of it. What did you get out of writing that book? Unfiltered by Matthew Barney.
For me, it was about thanking a lot of people, clarifying a lot of things that went wrong, and owning up to mistakes that I've made. I'm not a perfect person. I've certainly made a lot of mistakes, but I think overall, I just wanted people to hear my side of the story, and then at the other end, just know you can always do better. You can always do better. Never give up. Always believe in yourself and surround yourself with great people, and you're going to have success. So for me, it was, I think at times I might have embarrassed my kids along the way because of some stupid things that I did. Those certainly have been cleared up, and I also just wanted to get my side of the story out there. At the same time, giving people an inside look to what sometimes happens, whether it's on the road, in a game, and just get my personality out there. But it was a lot of fun to write. For a guy that doesn't read many books, to write one was quite challenging at the same time.
Well, it's right top of our coffee table here in Boca Raton. And like I said, you talk about not giving up. Every story got beat up here, got beat up there, got beat up. Very few stories about winning fights, yet you kept doing it and fashioned quite a great career out of it.
Yeah. I wish the NHL was more like the UFC or boxing, where if you're 190 pounds or 160 pounds, you fight within a 10-pound gap. I don't like that. It's not fun fighting Zdeno Chara and Stu Grimson and Todd Fedoruk. Not many wins along the way. Probably why I celebrated so much when I did win one, because they didn't come along too often. But I guess the old adage, you show up, and I was always there to defend teammates. And I always felt if I was going to be a pest, I was never a heavyweight, I knew that. But I also felt a little guilty if I didn't answer the bell at some point. Now, it was going to be on my own terms, because ultimately my goal was to help the team win. I just wanted to help the team win. And if I was going to take a punch or a slash to the head or the back of the leg and suck people into penalties, and we score on the power play, I was going to answer the bell at some point, but it was going to be under my terms.
You know what, Barney, what's awesome about that is if you're going to be a pest, you want to be the best one. We all want to be the best at whatever we do. And you did that. And like I say, your name came up unsolicited from Bill Lindsay last week over lunch. So, he thinks you're great, too. I'll say this about the Sabres, your old team. Where are they going this year, do you think? How? They going to stay on the rise?
I really think they're going to take that next step forward. I think getting Dahlin signed, $11 million is probably crazy when we think of, he keeps on getting better, but I think in 3 or 4 years that contract's going to look really good. Owen Power especially, a lot of good young players up front. Can their goaltending be enough? It's still an unknown. Devin Levi was awesome at Northeastern. He was great when he got called up last year. But do they have enough goaltending to get them into the playoffs? And who are you going to take out of the playoffs? I think Boston's going to take a step back, but the Ottawa Senators are a better team. Detroit's a better team. Buffalo's a better team. And then you have, Florida, and then you got Tampa Bay, and then you got the Toronto Maple Leafs, you got Carolina. All these teams are going to be playoff teams. It's very hard. When you think of who's going to be in, you have to say who's going to come out. And that's where it gets really hard for Buffalo, Detroit, and Ottawa.
Hey, Barney, last one, because I know you got to have lunch there at Ford's Garage. Great place. Do you know anything about the Andre Vasilevsky situation? Because Tampa opens at home tonight here in Florida to Nashville without an adequate replacement in my mind. Like, it just seems really weird to me that they'd be missing the best goalie in hockey till Christmas and not have another plan at all.
Yeah, I'd really watch the first 5 to 10 games, and if things go sideways, I'm sure Julian Brisebois will make a move. I have no inside knowledge of what it is, and we're ramped up in the football season. I've been a lot of NFL, and now I'm getting into the hockey with it starting tonight. By the way, I have the 3 favorites. I got the Golden Knights tonight. Who else do I got? The 3 home favorites in a parlay. So let's make some money there, but I have no inside knowledge on that. Tampa Bay at home, Vegas, and I can't even remember the third of the one off the top of my head. But I got Vegas 10 unit. Huge.
Yeah. Gotcha. Swerve in Calgary writes in and says, Barney was a showman. We'll leave it like that. I'm sure you'll take it. You've been called worse, Barney. Have a great lunch at Ford's Garage, man.
Cheers, buddy. Keep up the awesome work, man.
Thanks for coming on. Yeah, I love you, pal. Matthew Barnaby checking in from Estero, Florida, in one of the greatest outlet malls you're ever going to find. We'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
This is it, everybody. This is it. Yeah, hey, I gotta tell you, I just got a text from Jimmy Finizzi. That is his name, Jimmy Finizzi. He hosts the Rangers podcast, and I'm going to tell you, this podcast that Serena and I started, the Cats and Bolts podcast, if you're going to go look it up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, it's all one word, Cats and Bolts. Cats, the letter N, Bolts. We cover Panthers and Lightning. The way this thing went along, it was just going to be a Panthers podcast. We got talking to people and realized there's a lot of Lightning fans around here, and I'm going to be honest, there's not a lot of quality talk about the NHL teams in Florida. So we started it, and it's going great. And then been invited on all these other cool podcasts to talk about it. And tomorrow, Chad Minton will be joining us from the Catfish on Ice podcast to talk Predators. They open tonight at Tampa. It's just a whole new world, and it's so exciting. And they've been so nice. I really appreciate that. Last chance to get at me today, 902-518-3033 is the text line. Sports update, the Texas Rangers can advance to the American League Championship Series with a win tonight against the visiting Baltimore Orioles. The wild card Rangers won the first two games of the best-of-5 AL Division Series in Baltimore by scores of 3-2 and 11-8. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Twins will be looking to take a 2-1 lead in the AL Division Series that they're in when they host the Houston Astros. NFL, which we didn't talk anywhere near enough of today, maybe tomorrow. The Las Vegas Raiders snapped a 3-game NFL losing streak with a 17-13 victory over the Green Bay Packers last night at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. It seemed to me like a game that neither team wanted to win. Jimmy Garoppolo threw his NFL-high 7th interception, but they still won, and both teams are now 2-3. Packers and Raiders. Sports update brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their Core 5. Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale, 4 of which sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. It's good that we ran out of time, I swear, because as I said earlier on in this show, I don't want it to drag. And it doesn't. Thank you, John Ohm. Cats and Bolts. All one word. Thank you, John Ohm. Oh, my gosh. John says, will you be watching tonight? Number 98, Rod. Is the Pope Catholic? Does the bear relieve himself in the woods? The answer is yes. Of course. I'll be on that podcast with Jimmy Finizzi out of New York, and then I will be watching Canada. I'm going to watch as much of the 3 games as I can, but I'm pretty sure I won't be staying up for Vegas, Chicago. From Ryan O'Radio, he says, another great RP show. He's at WQEE, the Key in Atlanta, where we are, Atlanta's NHL show. Ryan, I'm so glad you got your voice back. As a guy said to me one time, a broadcaster without a voice is like a carpenter without a hammer. Isn't that the truth? What do we got? What are you laughing at, Allie, in Texarkana? I know what you're laughing at. David in Winnipeg. Great show today, crew. Go Bombers and Jets. Ryan in upstate New York. Have a great Tuesday, everyone. Enjoy whichever sport you watch tonight, but we all know it'll probably be hockey. What do we got popping over here on the text line? 902-518-3033. I appreciate everybody chiming in there. I got to be somewhat careful here. Janice in Saskatoon writes in regarding the Avs. She goes, Nathan McKinnon for more points than Sid or Connor. Go, Avs, go. The question was for just tonight, and everybody is voting for the old GOAT, Sidney Crosby. Although I can't say, I don't think that he's the GOAT even for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I would say, Mario Lemieux, but I'm old. Who's with me? Crosby's got more cups, though. A good debate. We'd have to ask a Penguins person who's the GOAT in Pittsburgh, Sid or Mario. But the question was just tonight, who will have more points, Connor or Sid? I'm voting for Connor Bedard because I'm a Connor Bedard guy. Regarding Jeffrey Orage's tenure as commissioner of the CFL, she says Orage was a stain on the CFL. She was, I guess he left his mark, literally. I loathe that new logo and eat up any classic merchandise I can find. That from Janny. Yeah, I don't know why he had to go change the logo. I don't get why people do these things. But as Frank McChrystal once said to me, if we have a problem with the decisions made by the leaders, I guess we could run and try and be leaders ourselves. No thanks. From Kevin the Medium, he says, amazing show today, Rod. Take care. I don't want to be in charge of anybody but me. And that's a 24-hour job. See you, AB. We'll see you all tomorrow at noon Eastern here on Game Plus and WQEE Radio.
Who has more fun than us?